Lecture 6, Mechanics, Punctuation, Capitalization, and Style. Welcome to Lecture 6 of our comprehensive APA Style series, Mechanics, Punctuation, Capitalization, and Style. In our previous lectures, we've built a strong foundation in formatting, organization, writing style, and language usage. This lecture focuses on the mechanical precision that gives your writing its final, professional polish and demonstrates your mastery of scholarly conventions. This lecture covers the specific punctuation rules, capitalization standards, and mechanical details that distinguish professional academic writing from casual communication. These elements might seem like small details, but they play crucial roles in creating writing that commands respect and demonstrates your attention to professional standards. In this lecture, you'll master every mechanical aspect of APA style, from spacing after periods to complex capitalization rules. By the end of this session, you'll have complete command of the mechanical precision that ensures your scholarly work meets the highest professional standards and allows your ideas to shine without distraction. Punctuation and spacing rules. Punctuation and spacing in APA style follow specific rules that create consistency, enhance readability, and reflect modern typographic standards. Understanding these rules eliminates guesswork and ensures your writing maintains professional appearance throughout. The most fundamental rule involves spacing after periods and other end punctuation. Use exactly one space after periods, question marks, and exclamation points. This single space rule represents a significant change from older typewriter conventions that required two spaces, and it's essential for modern professional appearance. The historical context helps explain this change. Typewriters used monospace fonts, where every character occupied the same width, making two spaces necessary for adequate visual separation between sentences. Modern word processors use proportional fonts, where characters have varying widths, making single spacing optimal for readability and professional appearance. Implementing this rule requires attention if you learn typing with two-space conventions. Use your word processor's find and replace function to search for double spaces and replace them with single spaces. This automated approach ensures consistency throughout your document and saves time during editing. The single space rule applies to all end punctuation, not just periods. Use one space after question marks in direct questions, one space after exclamation points when they're appropriate in academic writing, and one space after colons in most contexts, though APA style allows some flexibility with colon spacing. Commas require specific attention in academic writing, particularly regarding the serial comma, also known as the Oxford comma. Always use the serial comma before the final and/or in a series of three or more items. This comma eliminates potential ambiguity and ensures clear communication. For example, write, "The study examined reading, writing, and mathematics performance," with the comma before "and." Without the serial comma, readers might wonder whether writing and mathematics represents a single combined subject or two separate subjects. The serial comma eliminates this ambiguity. The serial comma rule applies to all series, regardless of the types of items listed. Use it with simple noun series, complex phrase series, and even series of complete clauses. Consistency in serial comma usage demonstrates attention to detail and professional competence. Semicolons serve specific functions in academic writing, primarily connecting closely related independent clauses and separating complex items in series. Use semicolons to connect independent clauses that are closely related in meaning. The first study examined social media effects. The second study focused on intervention strategies. When series items contain internal commas, use semicolons to separate the major items. Participants included students from Boston, Massachusetts, Portland, Oregon, and Austin, Texas. The semicolons clearly separate the three cities, despite the internal commas in each location. Colons introduce lists, explanations, or elaborations that follow complete sentences. The key requirement is that the text before the colon must be a complete independent clause. The study examined three variables: social media usage, academic performance, and student satisfaction. Avoid using colons after incomplete phrases or dependent clauses. Instead of "the variables were social media usage, academic performance, and student satisfaction," write "the variables were social media usage, academic performance, and student satisfaction, or restructure to include a complete clause before the colon. Quotation marks follow specific patterns that differ from some casual writing conventions. Periods and commas always go inside quotation marks in American English. The researcher described the finding as significant. Question marks and exclamation points go inside quotation marks only when they're part of the quoted material. Understanding these punctuation rules and applying them consistently creates writing that appears polished and professional while eliminating distractions that could interfere with readers' focus on your content. Lists and parallel structure. Lists in academic writing require careful attention to parallel structure and consistent formatting. Proper list construction enhances clarity, demonstrates logical thinking, and creates professional presentation that supports effective communication. Parallel structure means that all items in a list follow the same grammatical pattern. This consistency creates rhythm and clarity while making lists easier to read and understand. When list items follow parallel structure, readers can process the information more efficiently and focus on content rather than struggling with inconsistent formatting. In simple noun lists, ensure all items are nouns or noun phrases. The study examined motivation, performance, and satisfaction. All three items are nouns that function similarly in the sentence structure. Avoid mixing nouns with other grammatical forms. Don't write "the study examined motivation, how employees performed," and satisfaction. For verb lists, maintain consistent verb forms throughout. Participants completed surveys, attended interviews, and submitted writing samples. All three items use past tense verbs in parallel structure. Avoid mixing verb forms. Don't write "participants completed surveys, were interviewed, and submitted writing samples." Gerund lists require all items to use the aiding verb form. The intervention focused on improving reading, enhancing writing, and developing critical thinking. All three items use gerunds, verb forms ending in ing that function as nouns in the sentence. When creating lists with phrases or clauses, ensure all items follow similar patterns. If one item begins with a preposition, all items should begin with prepositions. Students showed improvement in mathematics, in reading comprehension, and in problem-solving skills. Complex lists might require more sophisticated parallel structure. Consider this example. The program aimed to increase student motivation through peer collaboration, to improve academic performance through targeted instruction, and to enhance satisfaction through supportive environments. Each item follows the pattern thing to, verb, object, through method. Punctuation in lists depends on the complexity and structure of the items. Simple lists within sentences use commas and the serial comma, such as the variables included age, gender, and academic major. More complex lists might require semicolons when items contain internal punctuation. Vertical lists, where items appear on separate lines, follow different formatting rules. Introduce vertical lists with complete sentences ending in colons. Format simple vertical lists without punctuation at the end of each item unless the items are complete sentences. For example, the study included 3 phases: data collection, analysis, interpretation. However, when vertical list items are complete sentences, punctuate them as sentences. The study followed these procedures. Participants completed informed consent forms. Researchers administered standardized assessments. Data analysis occurred using statistical software. Numbered lists work well when sequence or priority matters. The intervention included 3 steps. 1. Assessment of current skills. 2. Individualized instruction. And 3. Progress monitoring. Use numbered lists when the order of items is significant to your meaning. Avoid unnecessary lists that fragment simple information. If you have only 2 items, incorporate them into sentence structure rather than creating a list. The study examined motivation and performance, rather than the study examined 2 variables, 1 motivation and 2 performance. Parallel structure extends beyond lists to other sentence elements. Maintain parallelism in comparisons. Students preferred online learning to traditional instruction, rather than students preferred online learning to attending traditional classes. The parallel structure compares 2 types of learning rather than mixing a learning type with an activity. Correlative conjunctions, both and, either or, neither nor, not only but also, require parallel structure in the elements they connect. The program improved both reading skills and mathematical abilities, maintains parallelism while the program improved both reading skills and how students performed in mathematics, breaks parallel structure. Reviewing your writing specifically for parallel structure helps identify and correct inconsistencies that can distract readers or create confusion. Read lists aloud to hear whether all items follow similar patterns and revise any items that break the established structure. Capitalization rules. Capitalization in academic writing follows specific patterns that demonstrate your understanding of professional conventions and ensure consistency throughout your scholarly work. These rules eliminate guesswork while creating writing that meets established academic standards. Always capitalize proper nouns, specific names of people, places, institutions, and unique entities. This includes personal names like Dr. Sarah Johnson, geographic locations like University of Dallas and San Francisco, and specific institutions like American Psychological Association. Racial and ethnic group names require capitalization as a matter of respect and accuracy. African American, Latino, Asian American, Native American, white, and black. This capitalization recognizes these terms as proper nouns referring to specific communities and identities. The capitalization applies regardless of whether these terms appear as nouns or adjectives. Trade names and brand names are capitalized because they're specific proprietary terms. Microsoft Word, Google Scholar, SPSS, and Zoom. These terms refer to specific products or services rather than general categories, so they require capitalization to maintain accuracy and respect intellectual property. Psychological tests, assessments, and standardized instruments receive capitalization because they're specific. Name tools such as the Beck Depression Inventory. This capitalization distinguishes specific instruments from general types of assessment. However, do not capitalize general disorders, conditions, or symptoms unless they're named after specific people. Write depression, anxiety, and autism spectrum disorder in lowercase because these are general medical or psychological terms rather than proper nouns. The exception involves eponymous terms, conditions named after specific people. Capitalize Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease because they're named after the researchers who first described them. However, note that some eponymous terms are moving toward lowercase usage in contemporary medical writing. Job titles and academic ranks follow specific capitalization patterns. Capitalize titles when they precede names as part of the person's formal designation, Professor Sarah Johnson or Dr. Michael Smith. However, use lowercase when titles follow names or appear independently. Sarah Johnson is a professor of management, or the department hired a new professor. Academic degrees use specific capitalization patterns. Spell out degree names in lowercase when used generally. Bachelor's degree, master's degree, doctoral degree. However, capitalize specific degree designations, Bachelor of Arts, Master of Science, Doctor of Philosophy. Abbreviated degrees use capitals, BA, MS, PhD. Course names and academic subjects require careful distinction. Capitalize specific course titles, Introduction to Psychology, Advanced Statistical Methods, Research in Social Psychology. However, use lowercase for general academic subjects, psychology, mathematics, English literature, unless they include proper nouns like English or Spanish. Government agencies, departments, and official bodies receive capitalization. Department of Education, National Science Foundation, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. This capitalization reflects their status as specific official institutions. Historical periods, events, and movements use capitalization when they refer to specific named phenomena, the Renaissance, World War II, the Civil Rights Movement. However, general historical references remain lowercase. The 20th century, the post-war period, medieval times. Religious terms require sensitivity and accuracy. Capitalize names of religions, religious texts, and deities, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, the Bible, the Quran, God, Allah, Buddha. However, use lowercase for general religious concepts, biblical, scriptural, divine. Scientific terms follow specific patterns. Capitalize proper nouns within scientific terms, Newtonian physics, Darwinian evolution, Freudian psychology. However, use lowercase for general scientific concepts: gravity, natural selection, cognitive development. Geographic terms require attention to specificity. Capitalize specific geographic features: the Pacific Ocean, the Rocky Mountains, the Mississippi River. Use lowercase for general geographic references: the ocean, the mountains, the river, unless they're part of proper names. Title case versus sentence case. Understanding when to use title case versus sentence case is crucial for proper APA formatting, as these different capitalization patterns serve specific functions in scholarly writing and help readers identify different types of content quickly. Title case capitalizes major words and is used for headings within your paper and for journal names in your reference list. Title case creates a formal, prominent appearance that's appropriate for structural elements and publication titles that deserve emphasis. In title case, capitalize the first word, the last word, and all major words regardless of length. Major words include nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and pronouns. Also capitalize any word of 4 or more letters, regardless of its grammatical function. This 4-letter rule provides a simple guideline that covers most content words. Do not capitalize articles a and the, short prepositions of 3 letters or fewer, in, on, at, to, of, for, by, or short conjunctions, and, but, or nor, unless they are the first or last word of the heading. However, longer prepositions like or, through, between, on, during, and within are capitalized because they exceed 3 letters. Always capitalize words that follow colons in title case, even if they would normally be lowercase. This rule ensures that subtitle elements receive appropriate emphasis. Sentence case capitalize only the first word after a colon, and proper nouns. Sentence case is used for article titles in your reference list and creates a more subdued appearance that's appropriate for source titles within citations. In sentence case, most words remain lowercase except for proper nouns that would be capitalized in any context. The distinction between title case and sentence case helps readers immediately identify what type of source they're looking at in your reference list. Journal names in title case stand out as publication venues, while article titles in sentence case appear as specific works within those publications. For example, in a reference entry, Smith, J. 2023, Social Media Effects on Academic Performance, a longitudinal study, Journal of Educational Psychology, 45, 3, 123 to 145. The article title uses sentence case, while the journal name uses title case, creating clear visual distinction between these different elements. Numbers and abbreviations. Number usage in APA style follows logical patterns that enhance readability and precision while maintaining consistency across different types of academic content. Understanding these patterns eliminates confusion and ensures your writing meets professional standards. The basic rule for numbers in text is to spell out numbers 0 through 9 and use numerals for 10 and above. However, several important exceptions override this basic rule when precision and clarity benefit from numerical presentation. Always use numerals for ages, regardless of the number. Ages are precise measurements that benefit from numerical clarity. Use numerals for all percentages. Percentages are statistical measures that require numerical precision for accurate communication. Use numerals for scores and statistical results. Statistical information requires numerical presentation for precision and professional appearance. Use numerals for exact measurements such as inches, pounds, and seconds. Measurements are precise quantities that benefit from numerical presentation regardless of the basic spelling rule. When numbers begin sentences, always spell them out regardless of size. This rule maintains proper sentence structure and readability. However, avoid beginning sentences with large numbers that would be awkward to spell out. Instead of 156 participants completed the study, restructure the sentence. The study included 156 participants who completed all assessments. Use numerals for mathematical expressions and equations. Multiplied by 3, divided by 12, the ratio was 4:1. Mathematical content requires numerical presentation for clarity and accuracy. Abbreviations in academic writing should enhance rather than complicate communication. Spell out terms on first use, followed by the abbreviation in parentheses, then use the abbreviation consistently thereafter. Organizational behavior, OB, on first use, then OB in subsequent references. However, don't abbreviate terms that appear only once or twice in your paper. The space saved doesn't justify the cognitive load of introducing and remembering abbreviations for rarely used terms. Common abbreviations like etc., IEA, and EG should be used sparingly in formal academic writing. Instead of etc., provide complete lists or use phrases like and other factors. Instead of I.E., use that is or restructure for clarity. Instead of e.g., use such as or for example. Statistical abbreviations follow specific conventions: M for mean, SD for standard deviation, P for probability value. These abbreviations are standard in academic writing and don't require definition on first use. Units of measurement use standard abbreviations without periods. Centimeters, kilograms, minutes, hours. These abbreviations are internationally recognized and enhance precision in scientific communication, integration, and quality control. The mechanical elements we've covered, punctuation, capitalization, numbers, and abbreviations, work together to create the polished, professional appearance that allows your ideas to shine without distraction. Integrating these elements requires systematic attention during both writing and revision processes. Develop a mechanical editing checklist that addresses each area systematically. Check spacing after periods throughout your document. Verify capitalization consistency. Confirm number usage follows APA rules. And ensure abbreviations are introduced and used appropriately. Use your word processors tools to support mechanical accuracy. The find and replace function can locate and correct double spaces after periods. Spell check functions can identify some capitalization errors, though they won't catch all APA-specific requirements. However, don't rely entirely on automated tools. Develop your own competency in recognizing and applying mechanical rules so you can work efficiently and catch errors that software might miss. Create templates that incorporate proper mechanical formatting from the beginning. When you start with correct spacing, capitalization, and number formatting, you prevent errors rather than correcting them later. Remember that mechanical precision serves larger communication goals. When your writing follows established conventions consistently, readers can focus on evaluating your ideas rather than being distracted by formatting inconsistencies or errors. Practice these mechanical skills across all your academic writing. Professional habits develop through consistent application and become automatic parts of your writing process, freeing your cognitive resources to focus on content development and argument construction. Consider mechanical precision as part of your professional identity as a scholar. Attention to these details demonstrates respect for your readers, commitment to professional standards, and understanding of scholarly conventions. Conclusion and transition: you now have complete command of punctuation rules, capitalization standards, number usage, and abbreviation guidelines that ensure your writing meets the highest professional standards. In Lecture 7, we'll tackle the heart of academic integrity, the complete citation and reference system that connects your work to the broader scholarly conversation. You'll learn to create perfect in-text citations and reference list entries that demonstrate your credibility and respect for intellectual property. The mechanical skills you've developed in this lecture become the foundation that supports all effective scholarly communication. When these elements are automatic and accurate, you can focus your attention on developing and presenting your ideas with maximum impact. Thank you for joining me for Lecture 6.